Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a good day whenever it is you're watching this. It's about 9 o'clock. Wednesday, April 28th, 2022. I don't know, we're going to see where this goes. I got something I want to talk about. I don't know what to think of it, really. My conspiratorial mind has an opinion, but I don't really know. But here's the deal. In the last 2 years, now depending on who is doing the reporting, anywhere from 14 to I think it was 20 or 22 on the last thing I saw about it. Yeah, dead air, love it. Anyway, like I said, 14 to 22 facilities involved in processing food in the United States have burned, have had major fires. Now, 2 of those were Walmart distribution centers in the last report that I saw. So, like I said, it's however you want to look at it. Like I said, I'm just telling you, this is stuff I've seen, I've heard reported. You make of it what you will. I know, like I said, my conspiratorial mind is just like, yeah, something's not right. And it sure does seem strange. That's quite a coincidence. But then again, I mean, to be fair, well, I don't know, but play devil's advocate. Is this normal? Is this, because I have no reports from before, I guess 2020. Like I said, it's been crazy. It's been a crazy 2 years. I mean, that's a fact. I think we can all agree to that. And it seems to be getting crazier. I mean, Japan, I read yesterday in an article, is about to have a financial collapse. I mean, and then I keep hearing the whole world's about to have all kinds of problems, financial, food shortages. They're talking about famine worldwide, and that I don't see why we're having this problem worldwide. Just, the United States shouldn't be having any kind of food shortage problem at all. I mean, as I'm driving along here, I got a wheat field on one side of me. It's kind of interesting. That's the Kansas side of the road. Driving down what's called State Line Road. And I'm guessing because that's what I'm seeing going in other places. But on the left side, which is in Missouri, freshly planted cornfield. Guessing. I mean, there's nothing coming up yet. And, scattered throughout, there's herds of cows. I just don't understand. Like I said in other videos, this is it boggles my mind that the United States isn't producing enough food to feed the United States. We're dependent on unstable countries like Ukraine, Russia. We've got I guess we ought to. I don't know. Nobody with enough influence is paying attention to me, so. But anyway, we need to stop. You know, at one time the United States fed the world, and we can do it again. Just, you know, we've got to better utilize the resources we have. And we've got to rein in the government. I try to keep this channel agriculturally oriented, yeah. And especially small scale. Let me give you an example of what I consider to be too much government. Bear with me a bit, please. This is Thursday morning. Tuesday evening, Rhonda took a class up at Mary's Flower Cart Cafe. Really nice lady, Mary. But anyway, to make some cinnamon rolls. Learn how to make cinnamon rolls. And she did. They're good. Woo. I've already eaten my share. But anyway, so, as people will do in a group, they get to talk, and it's kind of a small group. I don't know how many they had. Less than 10. So anyway, they get to talking, and they're talking about the high price of eggs. Rhonda says, well, we sell eggs. And, they ask how much. And right now, we can sell them cheaper than Walmart can. Now we have a limited supply, as we only have 10 laying hens. So, Mary, she makes the statement that she can't buy from us for her restaurant because we're not inspected. Our eggs aren't. There's nothing wrong with our eggs. We get an ugly one once in a while, but they're good eggs. Figuring it's time. And then she made mention of to Rhonda later, just kind of, it's like, I took it that she kind of caught Rhonda away from everybody else and said, I would buy your eggs. So I think that was a hint that maybe we ought to look into this. So I start looking yesterday, and I still don't have all my research done. But in order for, and the regulation is a bit confusing, because if I sell them off of my farm to an individual, the government don't get involved at all, as it should be. I'm not knowingly going to sell somebody something's going to make them sick. But anyway, if I want to go to a farmer's market and sell my eggs, I got to pay a $5 fee to the state of Missouri to have an egg license. I think it's called a limited retailer's license. And I'm just limited to selling those eggs to individuals, families, at the farmer's market in my home, my farm. So, okay. Now, if I wanted to sell my eggs so now I'm thinking about selling my eggs to a restaurant. In order for me to sell my eggs to a restaurant, I have to tell the state of Missouri how many eggs I'm going to sell per week, that I expect to sell per week. And then they price that license. It's called a dealer's license. They price it accordingly. But in the regulation, where they show you everything but how much it's going to cost you for that license, it says it doesn't include, whoa. Anyway, got a little closer to that truck in front of me than I wanted. Anyway, I didn't hit them, so we're good. But they won't tell me how much that license is going to cost me. Of course, I haven't looked up the contact information. I kind of want to feel around here a little bit and see. Just check into some other stuff. But anyway. But in another place, it tells me, because I'm the producer of the eggs, well, my chickens are the producers, that I don't have to have this license. It's crazy. But anyway, first of all, they make it way too confusing. You should say, okay, if you're going to sell eggs to a restaurant, a convenience store, grocery store, whatever, this is your licensing fee. Plus, then I've got to get, and I don't know if this is before or after I get my license. Probably before. I got to learn how to grade my eggs. I don't really have a problem with that, because that's just a selling point. That these are grade A, these are grade B. Grade AA, whatever. And then I've got to size my eggs, because I've got to put on the carton the grade, the size. Okay, so that's okay. I understand that. I mean, most of the people I get from our chickens lay medium to extra large eggs. So I don't have a problem with that. That it takes a little bit more time on our part, but it's no big deal. And you look at this regulation, these regulations here, that adds time, and time is money, as we all know, to what I have to do to sell my eggs commercially, more or less. And take this beyond a hobby, or what the government considers a hobby anyway. So and then I gotta deal with an inspector. I gotta deal with getting licenses, and it's crazy. But it's okay for me to sell to individuals, and it makes no sense. It doesn't. It just doesn't make sense to me why all the extra licensing. Until you get to thinking about it, you think a little deeper. And what really opened my eyes to what's really going on here is Ayn Rand's book, Atlas Shrugged. And I knew this went on. The bigger corporations, I guess you would say, who have the means to I'm struggling with how I want to phrase this. Who have the means to influence our legislators. That's where the problem is. Because while it's illegal to have a monopoly, they don't want enough people involved to have true competition. And that's where a lot of these regulations come from, is these bigger corporations trying to squeeze out the little guy and get a bigger cut of the pie. Now, why would they be concerned with somebody like me? Say I sell 25 dozen eggs a week. Why why would they care? And that I can't answer. I mean, I'm not going to put enough of a hurt on their bottom line for them to even notice me. But I guess they figure, my 25 and a couple hundred other people selling 25, 30 dozen a week, that will hurt them. I don't know. It's called crony capitalism. And it affects your agriculture. That's what's going on. That's part of our problem right now. And it's just like, I'm not going to mention her name. We have a United States representative from our area. Now, the more I see about government and the way it works, the more I see this happening. Our representative's family owns at least one tractor dealership. In our district. I'm not buying new tractors. I'm just a small guy here. My little old Kubota does just about everything I need it to do right now. So, I'm not going out and buying, a new $100,000 tractor every so often, or, $50,000, $60,000 pieces of equipment to use with that tractor. I don't see me ever getting to that point. Especially with what I'm doing, what I want to do. I just want to make a decent living and not have to go into a factory every day and do the exact same thing over and over. But anyway, that's enough about me. So, back to where I started at, we got too much government involved. Oh, to finish up with our representative, she has no interest in the small farmer, the small farmer, the little guys like me that, just wants to sell some eggs and some pigs, maybe some milk somewhere down the road. And that milk, that's a whole different story there. More government overreach with what I consider outdated laws. But anyway, she doesn't care about us because, one, I'm not contributing to her campaign to keep her in office. And two, I'm not big enough for her to notice. I mean, and that's the bottom line. And that's the deal with most of our politicians. We've got these large corporations. I'm struggling to not be throwing out names, but you can figure out who they are. Now, on the egg side, I don't know who the big players are there. I haven't done much research, but they can petition government in a way that I can't. I mean, and their products aren't any safer than mine are. Joel Salatin has proven over and over again that the small farmer, the guy that's just out here barely making a living. Now, I know some people who work for the corporate farms that are barely making a living too. But anyway, Joel Salatin has proven over and over that your food is safer coming from a smaller producer. I mean, these CAFOs, and CAFO, confined animal feeding operation. I don't know, maybe that's what it's for, but man, and I know people who are involved in this, and you know, they're not doing much better than I am. You know, I don't know about pork and beef and all of that, but I know that it costs you a lot of money to get involved in poultry, to sell to the big players, to be a contractor for them. I mean, you're somewhere around $1 million in debt before you get your first bird. And that's crazy. There's got to be a better system, people, and there is. And but everything is geared legally to benefit the big operator, the CAFO operation. You know, and it's crazy. It just should not be that way. And then, you know, let's talk about our food supply security. Look where we're at right now. Here's something that just kind of chaps my hind end. You go buy beef at the store, you don't know where it came from. You don't have a clue. It could come from South America. It could come from Russia. Who knows where it came from? Because our federal government decided that it didn't need to be labeled country of origin. Country of origin. That's what I'm trying to say. It can be legally labeled as grown in the USA if it was processed in the USA. I guess not grown in the USA, but it could be a product of the USA. Well, that's not true, because the processing's only part of that equation. So, I've been ranting here for a while. I'm running around doing errands. I'm on my way to Mom's right now. That's why I'm in the truck so long. And I probably need to be wrapping this up. But just think about all this. And don't take my word for it. What is this nut doing stopping in the middle of the road? Just stopped in the middle of the road. People, they make me want to say bad words. I'm still not sure they know where they're going. They're slowing down. They say they're turning this time. Okay. Alright, I'm past them. So anyway, I got to wrap this up. It's longer than I really intended. I hope it made sense to everybody. And I kind of hope it inspires you to find somebody close to you that's growing your food. And maybe we can, I don't know, lighten up on some of these government regulations, you know. It's crazy. We got all these regulations in the name of safety, and they do not guarantee you safety. They don't. Your average carton of eggs that you buy from the grocery store is over 45 days old already. Think about it. And they don't taste near as good. And most people I've talked to feel that way. I only know one person I've talked to that doesn't like eggs from chickens that get to be outside and eating grass and bugs and worms and stuff like that. But he's kind of weird. But anyway, It's kind of rough. Okay, I'm really going to wrap this up this time. So let's all look out for each other. Let's help each other out when we can. I'll see y'all later.